Let's bring in our CTV chief political correspondent, Vassy Kapelos. Vassy, this was the second major speak from Carney in just a week. What's your takeaway from what we heard today?
Well, two quick things that I would point out, Carolyn. And the first is around that comment that both you and Abigail referenced, directed at what President Trump said in his response to the original Davos speech. Basically, Canada does not live for the United States. I compared that with the original speech that we had prior to the delivery of it, and that line wasn't in there, which tells me that the Prime Minister decided to add it after the fact. And I'm very curious to see if there is a reaction in the United States to that, given that we have USMCA negotiations starting very shortly and lasting through the next 6 months. That could end up being a pretty consequential decision on his part. The second thing that stood out to me about this speech was that it had some of the same intonation as the Davos speech, but didn't contain much domestic policy or new domestic policy. This was very much aimed at sort of striking up Canadian identity. In my mind, actually sounded much more like an election-type speech than it did one heading back to the House of Commons. So people who were looking for some way to bridge exactly what he had said in Davos to what it means for their life might be left wanting. At the end of the day, like I said, it felt more like an election speech than a policy prescription. Maybe that's coming later. Wasn't today.
All right. Thanks, Vassy.